Activision Blizzard has always been a horrendous publisher, arguably worse than Electronic Arts, and that's saying something. It's just that Activision has always been able to weasel away from controversy. We've seen that multiple times through the years. They're kind of the snake of this industry. You have the whole Destiny 2 disaster that happened at launch. There was some horrific monetization schemes in place, as well as XP was apparently rigged at one point, and some content that previously had been available in the base game was being locked away unless you purchased the latest DLC at the time. That was Destiny 2 at launch. Things have definitely improved since, but there's a continuing pattern with each Activision release, and it's a whole ton of shadiness. And as of actually recording this video, it looks like Bungie is getting the F away from Activision. Probably for the best, since Activision just wants to ruin Destiny with microtransactions. We'll discuss this a little bit later in this video, but probably best for Bungie. But let's continue on. Let's get back to the company of Activision. In 2017, they also created some outrage when it was found they were exploring and actually granted a patent which outlines plans of a new matchmaking system that would pair players together in order to encourage microtransactions. It's all about psychological manipulation with this publisher. You look to the Call of Duty franchise and it's just a mess. I don't really think I can properly go through every shady decision made over the years with Call of Duty in just about a minute or two, but some of the highlights include the pay-to-win supply drops present in games like Black Ops 3 and Advanced Warfare, forcing consumers into buying Infinite Warfare to play a remaster of the beloved Call of Duty Modern Warfare 1, reselling at a higher price a remastered DLC map pack for Modern Warfare Remastered, introducing loot boxes to a remaster, manipulating players with loot boxes that drop down in front of your face for everyone to see in Call of Duty World War II, and just recently Black Ops 4 charging money for a red dot reticle. Also, something that I personally caught on to last year was Activision not releasing microtransactions for games like Advanced Warfare, Call of Duty World War II, and Black Ops 4 until about a month after launch, once the reviews are written and copies have been sold. This is a company that knows how to circle around controversy, but point being, Call of Duty has managed to get away with a lot, and that's mainly due to the more casual audience, which is what these publishers love taking advantage of. Now, you may recognize that in the past it really has been the Activision side that has created problems. Blizzard has had its issues, but under the leadership of Mike Morhaime, who is one of the founders of Blizzard and served as president and CEO of the company from its birth in 1991 to late 2018, things have mostly been good until last year, in which we had the whole Diablo Immortal debacle. Blizzard thought announcing a cheap mobile cash grab at BlizzCon would go over well with their largely PC hardcore gaming audience. It really made no sense. The expectation was Diablo 4 would maybe get announced, but instead a mobile game was the highlight, which did not go over well with the fans.
Is there any plans to make this playable on PC, or is this strictly mobile forever?
Are there any? The current plan is to be on mobile. We don't have any plans at the moment to do PC. Do you guys not have phones?
Yeah, you guys all have phones, right?
Hey, just was wondering, is this an out-of-season April Fool's joke?
No, it's a fully.
To make matters worse, on October 3rd, 2018, it was announced that Mike Morhaime would be stepping down, which was seen to the gaming world and much of Blizzard as a massive blow, because it appears Morhaime was really the reason why Activision's BS hadn't really affected Blizzard too much. Pretty much Morhaime was the one protecting the company from Activision's horrible influence. Also, for those who don't understand the Activision and Blizzard relationship, it's pretty much two publishers or branches under the larger parent company, which confusingly enough is called Activision Blizzard. Now, the larger parent company, Activision Blizzard, has subsidiaries or companies they own under them, which includes Major League Gaming, Blizzard Entertainment, Activision, and King. For a long time, Blizzard Entertainment pretty much has been able to do what it does best: take its time with making great games, but the issue is Activision Blizzard does not care about any of that. Specifically, the suit running the show, CEO Bob Bobby Kotick wants more games developed on cheaper budgets and higher profits. Remind you of a company? It seems that Blizzard co-founder Mike Morhaime was able to stop this influence for a long time, but with him no longer with the company, things are quickly changing. Even as outsiders, we're all starting to see an eruption of problems emerging from Blizzard Entertainment as of late. It really started to become apparent when it was recently announced they would be scaling back development on their least successful game, Heroes of the Storm. Although the real issue is how they went about announcing the decision. This is a game that had its own esports league, and Blizzard did not have the decency to let any of the pro players know ahead of time that all the practicing and hard work was going to be for nothing, because with scaling back development, they also put an end to the Heroes of the Storm Global Championship, the HGC Esports League. This would leave hundreds of pro players without jobs. Furthermore, right before Christmas, Kotaku's Jason Schreier, one of gaming's best reporters, published a bombshell report which again shows changes coming to Blizzard. As Schreier states, Blizzard has spent the year taking big measures to cut costs as it prepares for a lean 2019. Those measures, as conveyed by people who work or have worked for the iconic studio, include employee buyouts, in which workers are offered money to leave, a broadening of the finance department, and the limitation of budgets for any team at the company that is not directly making video games. Furthermore, in the report, it was also added that Blizzard was making it easier for employees to be eligible for the Career Crossroads program, which offers healthy severance packages to people who voluntarily take buyouts and choose to leave the company. As one former Blizzard employee told Kotaku, over the course of the last year, Blizzard has been trying very actively to find creative ways to cut costs that won't draw negative press attention. Another employee also described the current Blizzard situation as a lot of the decisions now are being driven by business folks, marketing and finance folks. There's a real struggle now between developers and the business people. Strategic decisions are being driven by the finance group. As Kotaku continues on stating, Blizzard CFO Amrita Ahuja, who also came over from Activision, told employees during an all-hands meeting that it was time to start reining in their spending. That was a common theme at many of Blizzard's departments this year, according to those who were there. That speech from Amrita about cutting costs that was not a one-time thing, said one person who worked on a non-development team. We were told to cut costs on a monthly basis. That's the toxic side of Activision taking over, ensuring a future of shadiness. We've seen it time and time again when business suits take over, who only care about higher profits rather than, actually entertaining people. Now, one of the big reasons why we're seeing such a big emphasis on lowering expenses is likely because of the overall company not doing too good in 2018. You can just look at their stock, it's almost been cut in half. But if you didn't hear, Black Ops 4, which made $500 million in just a few days, was seen as a sales disappointment to investors. They want to see growth, and Call of Duty has had like 16 installments now with little to no improvements. Sure, the games look a little better and have a few more modes, but Call of Duty is essentially the same thing every single year. Franchise fatigue is real, and maybe Activision can get a home run in 2019 with Modern Warfare 4, but like any popular franchise, eventually people will move on, which spells bad news for Activision and Blizzard whenever that decline does happen. We saw it happen to Medal of Honor, which really was the go-to shooter for years until Call of Duty came about, and sometime in the future a better product will emerge from the shadows. Now, Activision Blizzard's problems in 2019 started just the day after the new year when it was announced Spencer Newman, the CFO of Activision Blizzard, was fired, which actually was him just leaving, as it was later found out he had taken a job at Netflix for the same position. Netflix poached him. Then, just a few days later, it was announced that Blizzard Entertainment Chief Financial Officer Amrita Ahuja was leaving to join Jack Dorsey's online financial service Square Inc. So for whatever reason, executives are jumping ship right now. Then there was a massive incident that just happened recently in Overwatch when a girl gamer, Ellie, quickly shut up the game's leaderboards, and many believe the account to be fake or played by someone else. With some serious homework being done, some were able to figure that it may possibly be a male pro player named Punisher. Anyway, many games journalists claimed people were just being sexist because they couldn't see a girl gamer dominating like Ellie was. Then soon after, Ellie joined a pro team but left only days later, citing constant harassment, which gaming journalists had a field day with. But then a big update came when it was revealed, surprise, surprise, Ellie was actually played by a male pro player, Punisher. And this was all some sort of social experiment. That's a short TLDR of that mess, but it was just more negative press surrounding Blizzard. And just the other day, also again, involving Overwatch, it was revealed that Soldier 76 was gay, which actually didn't go over well with a former Blizzard employee who made some very concerning claims. Former Blizzard employee Julian Murillo Suyalar, I'm probably saying that wrong, said in a statement on Twitter, "I've written this retelling several times, too many that I've lost track. When I was reaching out to attorneys and later the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, during my employment at Blizzard Entertainment in the Blizzard esports team supporting Hearthstone and the Hearthstone Championship Tour, I was the victim of racial abuse and discrimination during April to December 2016 until I was transferred to the Blizzard esports business operations team." He would then give a retelling of the events that allegedly occurred and would state, "I write this today because the Soldier 76 announcement and subsequent tweets did trigger me. The reason why it triggered me wasn't the message but who it was coming from, Blizzard Entertainment. The idea of inclusion or representation and every voice matters and think globally never meant that for me and other people of color I've spoken to. Because up until recently in the last 2 years has the community had some representation and initiatives. But are we really represented? My missus, I guess his wife, dealt with her own discrimination. That's her story. And other current and former alumni have confessed similar or worse treatment and nothing's been done." Blizzard would respond to these claims by saying, "While the company does not comment on individual personnel issues, we can share that having an inclusive and respectful work environment is extremely important to us. We have a policy against harassment and discrimination and take reports of inappropriate behavior very seriously." Look, I don't know the full story on this, but it sounds like this now ex-employee is accusing the company of pretending to care about being inclusive and only doing so for gain, which is concerning. There's also more alleged by this employee. I will leave a link in the description to the post, but pretty much it seems a series of problems are emerging for the whole Activision Blizzard. The Activision side has always been crap, but now Blizzard Entertainment is starting to have its own consistent issues, which makes me wonder, what is the future of this company? Does Activision finally step over the line in 2019, creating the next Battlefront 2 mess? It's possible. This company has gotten greedier over the years, and right now it appears to be just a gigantic mess. I've said it for a while that Activision has gotten away with a lot of their shenanigans, and I feel that EA learned their lesson at least for the time being last year. But if Activision's franchises continue with a slow decline, expect more microtransactions, which they actually claimed would be the case for Destiny 2. I have to imagine eventually Activision will go over the line in which people finally realize how terrible the company is. But on the Blizzard side, I really don't know what to expect. If Activision's influence truly takes over, then we could be looking at a disappointing future. And then you also have to consider the fact that whenever Activision screws up, it seems to have a huge effect on Blizzard. Just look at this year. Black Ops 4 was a sales disappointment, and now they're desperately trying to cut costs at Blizzard. What could happen in the future? That's a really big question. But judging by a recent player survey that was sent out, it looks like Blizzard may be looking at scaling back on Hearthstone next. And Mike Morhaime was actually serving in an advisory role since stepping down from CEO and president of Blizzard, but it's just been announced that will come to an end in April. Things have not been going well as of late. In 2019, well, it looks like it may be an even bigger chaotic mess. And as I discussed early on in this video, Bungie and Activision have just announced they're splitting up. This news comes via Kotaku's Jason Schreier, and as he includes in his article, they have a statement from Bungie who says, "We have enjoyed a successful 8-year run and would like to thank Activision for their partnership on Destiny. Looking ahead, we're excited to announce plans for Activision to transfer publishing rights for Destiny to Bungie. With our remarkable Destiny community, we are ready to publish on our own, while Activision will increase their focus on owned IP projects." So yes, Destiny, Bungie, they're getting the F away from Activision. It's for the best. Activision's greedy selves probably wanted to implement a lot more microtransactions, and based on the deal that Bungie had with Activision, I'm sure they had to pay a lot of money to get away from them. But honestly, this is not looking good for this whole company. Activision and Blizzard, Activision Blizzard. What a year, what a way to start this year off. Anyway, these are just my thoughts. What do you think the future of Activision Blizzard looks like? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below, but thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy this video or found any informative value, and consider subscribing for more videos like this, and I'll see you later.